All right. Well, we are back for the quote unquote final episode of the CougsFirst podcast. I am your guest host here, Tony Poston, Executive Director of CougsFirst, and we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to actually have Kelsey in the hot seat as a guest and just kind of talk to Kelsey about her experience as the host of this podcast, what's next for her, what's next for CougsFirst, and all the fun things. So, yeah, Kelsey, we've all heard from you 57 times now. So let's just talk. Let's reflect back on those 57 episodes and do a little reminiscing. What were some of your favorite moments? What were some funny behind the scenes things? And what's next for Miss Kelsey?
Yeah, thank you, Tony, for hosting. And even beyond that, just thanks for being a friend for so many years and giving me this opportunity. This has been probably one of the coolest Coug projects I've ever done. And I'm just so honored that you trusted me to do this wild thing for as long as we did. I've gotten to meet so many amazing people. I think, in general, just podcasting as a whole has a casualness to it. You get to connect with your guest in a way that just feels so different than any other interview or conversation you would have in any other media. So I've really enjoyed the process. I've met some really interesting people. I've had some crazy opportunities, and I'm just so honored and grateful for that. But if I had to pick some favorite episodes, I mean, I gotta just call out DJ Goldfinger. That one
Yeah.
really surprised me.
Yep. Uh-huh.
That one surprised me. Also, for those that don't know, the follow up of that, I mean, he sent a very kind, thoughtful text to Tony after, and it's just so cool to be a Coug. Like,
It
that's all
is.
I
I
can say
mean,
about this.
if you have been a Coug in the last 25 years, there's a good chance that Goldfinger somehow contributed to your night in one way, shape, or form on the hill, or now down at the lumber yard, or up at CCN for those courtyard parties. I mean,
Yeah.
for gosh, almost 3 decades now, he's been a part of Coog's party life and nightlife. So, but he's also just a great human and a
Mhm.
great Pullman resident. I mean, I live here and I see him around town with his kids, and they were going to our kids' daycare, and we went to a pool party together for 3-year-olds, and it was just a different DJ Goldfinger,
Right.
But yeah, that was it's such a good episode. I want to rewind a bit and say thank you for being a friend. We've been friends for over a decade now, and been through lots of different football games and Cougs First shows and dinners and baseball games, and been to a lot of stuff together. And I hold your friendship near and dear to my heart. You're such a great Coug. But thank you for being the voice of this podcast for so long. And also being like one of the best dressed Cougs at our shows. You always have like the cool Coug gear and sparkly shoes
Yeah.
and jackets, and you just always like come in with like custom Coug gear that not even College Hill can do. So
Hey, I buy it from a Coug, so I just keep it going. She's
yeah, we need to get that Coug to join
yeah.
Cougs first.
I know. I know. I'm gonna send her this. I'm gonna send her Tina Folk. I'm coming for you, Folktown. I'm
All
coming for
right.
you. If you make
Tell
some
her to call me.
waves.
We'll get her set up.
I know. No, I appreciate that. And like I said, it's just been a cool opportunity. And the what's next, I mean, there's no like crazy reveal. I think life, we personally we bought a house recently. For those that don't know, I have my own business too. I know Tony's super busy, I'm super busy, and this has been a fun ride. But I was telling Tony before recording, I think ultimately I just feel like I want to give back and connect with WSU in some other ways. I'm never going to leave Cougs First. I'm a lifer, but I'm just excited for what could come in the future. And I also have a hard time doing hard goodbyes. So I don't think this will be goodbye forever, but I just felt like we had to tell the people, we're not going to be hanging out every 2 weeks like we have been.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get back on a podcast when certain things happen. Maybe
Yeah.
someday we'll have a new conference that the teams can play in, and we'll probably do a podcast around that with the athletic director. And hopefully, when we have a new president here soon, we can do a podcast around that. But yeah, I agree. It's not a hard goodbye. We'll be around.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
So let's talk about your business. What are some of the things that you do in your day to day? I know that you share a lot on Instagram. I think that's great. You're very, very vulnerable, and you're very um, open and honest about how you organize your day and stuff. But For those that don't follow you on Instagram and are listening right now, what does Kelsey do every day for a career?
Yeah, I am a business coach. I don't love that term, but that's like the shortest way to explain what I do. And my business is named Kelsey Marie Coaching. Honestly, I couldn't think of a cool name, so that was a temporary name and now it's stuck. I've just kept it going. And ultimately, what I do is I help leaders grow and scale their businesses and teams. So, specifically, I work with small business owners who are close to and just going over that first million in revenue. That means they have their first, couple hires. Maybe they're starting to build a leadership team, and it's like handing off this baton firmly is a whole new skill set. It's a whole new ball game, and I help with that transition, both with the leader and them being stronger in their leadership, but also going in and leading the team, supporting them, and making sure we have the right people in the right positions to ensure the business is going forward. It's so cool. Every day is different. I work in all kinds of industries. And it's funny how WSU is always this common thread. Not all my clients are Cougs, but I definitely have some Coug clients, and I love what I do. I studied entrepreneurship, so to be able to apply my degree to my business is a really cool thing.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, when I was at College Hill and scaling that company, I can't say how important it was for me to have a coach. It's just like a second set of eyes that's removed from the business that can give you advice, and very objective advice you don't take personally, because they're not somebody you see every day, but you probably see your clients quite often, and you basically, they are an extension of your company, of course. So we did hire a coach at College Hill for our exec team, gosh, probably 7 or 8 years ago, and we were sort of spinning our wheels, but I mean, that was probably the best decision as a leader that I had made, besides stepping down and making Jen the CEO of College Hill.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was such a great decision. So for those that are listening, I will firsthand vouch for executive leadership coaches, but also B, vouch for Kelsey as one of those. It's ironic because I was sitting in the same exact seat about 4 or 5 years ago,
Mhm.
talking to you about coming and helping me
Yeah.
coach me. And then it just, these conversations started happening. And then I took this position with CougsFirst, and then we're like, let's do a podcast. And so it's really cool how it's transformed. I remember listening to your podcast, the Get Shit Done podcast, as I was driving randomly through Yakima, which is kind of a funny thing. I've lived in Washington for 21 years, and I've only been in Yakima twice in my entire life, but I distinctly remember listening to your podcast and calling you while I was driving through
Yeah.
Yakima,
Yeah.
I don't know, 4 years ago.
I
So
remember that.
maybe not 4 years ago, 3 years ago. But thank you for, taking a chance and taking this project on.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. So are you allowed to talk about your clients? I mean, I'm curious,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
what are some of
To a
your
point.
clients that are doing some cool things? What are some projects you've done that you're proud of with those clients? Any milestones that they're hitting that you're like, yes, let's celebrate those?
Yeah. A lot of my clients identify as accidental entrepreneurs. It's the person who they're in interior design and then they blink and all of a sudden they have a team of people because they couldn't do all the work by themselves. And one of them hit 1 million in revenue and she didn't know till I made her sit down and look at her numbers.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a big deal." Yeah, it's a big deal. And then we talked about it and she grew up super poor. She's like, "I never in 1 million years thought this would be me." And so a lot of these people have this massive success. They haven't like owned it yet. They haven't celebrated it. Honestly, part of it is me calling it out and being like, "You should be proud of that. That's super cool." But then, okay, we did all this out of desperation and it kind of just worked. How do we get more strategic and more proactive for that next level? And what does that look like? So, a
Mm,
lot of my entrepreneurs are in that stage. So, interior design one, she's really focusing on leading her team. How can she be as removed from the business as possible, but still hold the quality and the brand image strong? I have people who are opening new locations. I've helped people merge locations where maybe ego wise it feels good to expand and have different brick and mortar locations, but maybe that doesn't make sense for the actual business structure and culture. And so that can be a really humble process. But I have a client who merged two locations and has been thriving ever since. And now she's actually launching an education platform specific to her industry because she has the time to do it and she's able to really lead and pour into her team in a way that she was spread too thin before. So people grow in all kinds of ways. Life, your goals and your priorities shift. And Tony and I were talking about, like normal, what's normal, normalcy and flow and schedules and all that. And my process to coaching is very much, I'm aware of people's life. I'm aware of what is important to them in the chapter that they're currently in. And I make sure the business fits around that, not the other way around. So all kinds of things like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never really thought about the accidental entrepreneur. I'm not sure if you coined that term or if that's something out there. I've never heard that before. That's interesting for
I'm gonna
me.
Google that after this.
Yeah, seriously, Google it. Like there could be a book written, and that's a
Yeah.
great, because I don't think people think of entrepreneurs as accidental. I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of, people look at entrepreneurs. I mean, myself, I was born an entrepreneur. I mean, I
Same.
started my first business when I was like 10 years old, but
Yeah.
um, looking back at it, it was out of necessity. So maybe it was in a way on accidental. I don't want to use the word necessity because I didn't need that BMX bike. I just really wanted it. But I love that though,
Yeah.
because people become, it's their story is written as it goes, and some people fall into certain things, and um, some people maybe don't have that personality where they're very numbers or goal driven. I started my company and I wanted to sell $1 million in the first year, and we beat it by 0.4%. And it was like,
Mhm.
that's how my mind works, and entrepreneurs, they're in all different shapes and sizes. So to have a coach to tell you that that's okay and maybe help identify those blind spots
Yeah.
is hugely important. So, and I know you had yourself had a curriculum that you were developing, right, at one point for entrepreneurs, which is that going to come back again, do
Mhm.
you think? Or I mean, am I pressing too hard on that? Is that
No,
a secret or
that's actually part of it too. I've quietly been building my own course. I had one in the beginning of coaching and it just didn't feel authentic to me and it didn't feel, I don't know, I'm like, people can Google this stuff. Why do they need this? It just didn't feel like the right time. It wasn't the right solution. But now I've come to a place where demand exceeds what I can give. And there's enough consistent core problems that have come up with my clients that I have a Kelsey version or a solution that's unique to me to where it makes sense to have my own course. So I'll be launching it next year, actually. I'm hosting a conference and I'll be launching it from stage. So stay tuned
oh,
if
that's
you're
awesome.
following me on the socials.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, just don't just promise me you're not going to become one of those people on Instagram that has a little reel that says you'll teach us how to make $1 million in 90 days, and
God,
uh,
no. I
that
will never be that way.
but really they're just making their $1 million from getting an Instagram following, and I don't even
Right.
know, actually I don't even know how they're doing it, but there's so
I
many.
legit think it's a Ponzi scheme. I
It has
legit
to
think,
be. I see those pushed,
yeah.
those
They
like
buy a
sponsored.
course that
Yeah,
builds a course to teach you how to sell a course. That's not even their course. And
yeah.
no. I mean,
And
I
they're like
studied this to
showing their
death.
bank account numbers on the
Yes.
screen to prove it. And I'm like, if you have to show your bank account numbers on the screen to prove something, then you are just, it's either fake or very insecure, so
Yeah. No. No,
yeah.
Tony, authenticity is one of my core values. I would never do something
I
like that.
I know that about you. I was just joking. So
But that gives me major ick. Ugh.
yeah, major ick. Yep, definitely. Yeah. So, um, all right. Well, I don't know how, I've never hosted a podcast before. So what other questions am I supposed to ask you here?
You know, I do want to plug my podcast for those if you didn't know, I have one. Tony mentioned on it. Tony's been on it. I don't remember when that was, 2 years ago, a year ago.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's called the Get Shit Done podcast. It's been super fun. It actually, to give a peek behind the curtain, it's a funnel into my business. It's an opportunity where I can help and educate people, and then in turn, that is part of the customer journey for me. So it's really strategic and on paper may seem like two different things, but it's very intentional and super fun to have too. So if you're a business owner or aspiring entrepreneur, definitely come check it out. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's enough of my stuff. Definitely come say hi if we're at a Coug thing. And I don't know,
Yeah.
Tony, I feel like we also need to talk about some CougsFirst stuff. I think
Yeah.
we
Well, the
need,
next Coug thing you're at is going to be this weekend, the
I know,
opening football game, right? So
I know,
this
decided
episode probably
yesterday.
is going to be out, obviously in a few weeks or whatever, but hopefully we have won this one and the next one and the next one. So Labor Day weekend, Portland State.
Yeah.
What's your prediction for the score?
Uh, I don't know. I feel like I'm so out of touch. I'm I don't keep track of this stuff. I just come in blind. I come in open and blind
Yeah.
and optimistic. That's my approach to football. I'm
Okay.
gonna go. I think it'll be a close game. It's not gonna. I think it'll be a close. I think we'll score. I think they'll come up, and then I think we'll squeak out 21-14.
Really? Okay.
That's a
All
Kelsey
right.
guess.
Well, I hope you're really, really wrong. I think we're going to score 50 points and they're going to score 7. So mark this August 28th, 2:24 p.m. Tony says, I'm going 53-7.
Jeez. Okay.
Yep. We're going to come out swinging. So
I hope so. I sure hope so. But yeah, I mean, the other cool thing about this opportunity and just our business relationship and stuff is you've been doing so many cool things with CougsFirst and growing this community. And I know of these things, people who attend these events know, but I feel like you need to talk about after hours because those are really cool. And there's some people who still don't know about them. And then I don't know any other cool things that are coming up that people need to know about.
yeah, well, gosh, Cougs First. I've been in this job for, I don't know, almost 2.5 years now. And starting with just the shows, and then we added the golf tournament, and these after hours have just been incredible. We have one next week. Obviously this episode will already be out, or won't be out until afterwards, but we have a suite at the Rainiers game. If you didn't know, the Rainiers is owned by Cougs, which is really freaking cool. So all of our after hours are free to attend, and it's free for any business owner, business leader, any Coug that just wants to network. We move them around the state. So this month's in Tacoma, and then we actually are skipping October because we have our Spokane show October 24th at the Spokane Convention Center. And then in November, I think we're going to be in the West Side again, maybe Woodinville. And then we come back to Pullman in December. And then January, I think we're going to do Tri-City. So they bounce around and they go from all the establishments we do them at are Cougar owned or managed. So last month was at Marabou Park Hotel in Spokane Valley. They've been at wineries like FSD, breweries, 20 Corners, Flatstick Pubs, Taps, Beer Reserve down in Vancouver. But it's just a great informal networking event. People, they just drink beer, talk cougs, and get a chance to meet each other in a non-formal trade show setting. So it's not a trade show. It's just hang out, meet cougs. It's not a watch party, it's a chance for us to talk business. And I really like it. We see a lot more younger cougs coming to that, right early on in their career. We also see people who've owned businesses for 40 years come to them because they crave that cougar connection. So especially on the West Side and
Yeah.
down in Vancouver and in Tri-Cities, people that can't be to Pullman for all the games or whatever. So we're very excited to continue those every month. Obviously, we have our show in October at the Spokane Convention Center, very retail focused. Come buy your holiday gifts. We got jewelry and candles and wineries and cider companies, and Paddock Spirits will be there, who was our last episode. I think that's the order that we're going in.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is a really cool company that I'm blessed to be a part of coming out of Pullman here. And then after that, we'll get ready for our big show in Bellevue in May. May 9th, it'll be at the Maidenbauer Center. We also have our QB Classic in Pullman in April around the spring football game. Hopefully we can get Gardner to come back to that because he was a hoot and a holler last year, and just a great guy, great ambassador for WSU as a whole. So we have a pretty busy next 7-8 months, and we'll continue to grow as an organization and keep spreading the mission of thinking Cougs first for products, services, hiring, all the above. So
Yeah, I love that. And I think one thing I'm excited for, I've been so honored that going to networking events and being identified as Kelsey, the podcast host. And please don't forget me. But I'm excited to talk more about my business and come back to CougsFirst as a member of it too, and put
Mhm.
that kind of more at the forefront. So I'm just honored for the opportunity. I'm appreciated this ride and everyone listening and supporting the podcast. Thank you so much. Spreading the word. It helps me, it helps everyone in CougsFirst, and it helps the businesses ultimately, which is why we do what we do.
All right, cool. All right. So in your podcast, you've always done rapid fire. So I know that it's now that I'm the host,
Yeah.
I get to choose the rapid fire questions, and I'm gonna do, I don't know, as many as I can fit in the next
Okay.
5 minutes.
Okay.
So All right. Your favorite place to eat in Pullman?
Black Cypress.
Black Cypress. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Nick, hi
That's where
Nick.
Matt
Hope you're
asked me to be his
listening.
girlfriend.
Ooh, did he ask it that way? He was like, "Will you be my girlfriend?"
No.
Oh,
No, it was around Halloween time and he had taken screenshots of different Halloween costumes and asked me
uh-huh.
to help him pick it out. And then he had typed out how about my girlfriend at the end of it. So I was swiping
Oh,
through his phone. I
wow.
know.
Matt, a
Thoughtful
little
guy.
creative romantic.
Yeah.
Hi, Matt. I hope you're listening. Good,
Oh, I'll
good
make
job.
him listen. I'm not sure he will, but I will make him.
Right on. Okay, so on that note, and you can't choose, well, you can actually. Uh First dates. I think that was one of your rapid fire questions, was it
Yeah.
first date spots in Pullman area?
Oh, I got one.
Yeah.
Walmart.
Walmart. Okay.
Yep. I mean,
Interesting.
this is dating myself, but go to Walmart, pick out a $5 DVD. I don't know if you have a DVD player, if you have a way to play a
Yeah.
DVD. Candies, snack. I just think that it's kind of wacky and different. It's also college budget friendly.
Yeah. I mean, back in my day, we just went to Blockbuster and did that.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. French fry in Pullman. I think that was one of
Yep.
your questions. Yeah.
South Fork. Those
Southport.
thin cut fries are just
Yes.
and the seasoning. Yeah.
Those are delicious. I'll tell
Yeah.
you what, I was at Valhalla the other day though, and I also like those fries because they're like battered. I don't even know how to explain it. They're like fried twice and they kind of have the crunch on the outside but soft on the
Yeah.
inside. Those are also delicious. So
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. Let's see. What was your other questions? Is there a game you're looking forward to this football season? I think that was one, right?
Yeah. Um I always look forward to this is I have two answers. One, I'm looking forward to next weekend because I'm taking my mom and she's never been to a Cougar football game. So I just think
Oh,
that's going to be a special experience for her. So like
yeah,
experience
Texas
wise,
Tech. Yeah,
it
Texas Tech next weekend.
it's Texas Tech, yes, but it's more just the fact that I'm taking my mom.
Right, right.
This is also kind of a wacky answer, but my cousin played for ASU. We don't talk a lot, but every time we play each other, we just talk shit the whole day over text. And I look
Okay.
forward to that little connection piece. And there's seasons where it's not a relevant game. There's seasons where they're horrible or somehow
Yeah.
we lose, but it just makes it fun. So just to give a
Well,
different answer, that's my answer.
yeah. Well, we're gonna miss that
I
moving
know.
forward without them being in the
Womp
Pac-12. So
womp.
yeah, that's maybe we'll be able to play them again in the future because that was also one of my favorite trips to go on, going down to ASU, and we
Oh yeah.
always seem to play them around Halloween.
Yep.
So you go to Tempe around Halloween and you see some things. You definitely see some things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I went to
yeah.
that game when the Seahawks played and went to back football games. That was fun.
Yes. You know, Kevin Massimino was there. I
Yeah.
remember this distinctly, and we went to Top Golf and all that stuff. Kevin, if you don't know, people that are listening, he helps with the Cougar Collective as well as you do. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, I remember that game. We played Top Golf, and I left. I didn't go to the Seahawks game the next day, but yeah,
Yeah. It was a lot of football, but it was fun.
a lot of football. I was actually looking at our Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders schedule because that's where Gardner's playing now, and we play basketball the night before in Las Vegas, December 22nd, I believe, against maybe it's Iowa State or something. It's a really cool game. And then you can watch Gardner play because he just got named the starter for the Raiders the
Hmm.
next day in December. So if you're looking for a cool weekend to go travel somewhere warm-ish, um, December 22nd, go down to Vegas and watch Coug basketball and then Minshew play for the Raiders. So
Love it. Love it.
yeah. All right. Well, I think those are the only rapid fire questions I can remember.
Those are the rapid ones for you. Got it.
Those are the rapid ones that came to mind. I mean, 57 episodes was a lot. We got
Yeah.
a lot of great content, a lot of great conversations. Thank you so much, Kelsey, for being this host, being such a great part of CougsFirst, the Cougar Collective, but most importantly, a great friend. I look forward to seeing you here in Pullman in a couple of days, and go Cougs.
Thank you. Go Cougs.